fact and has been confirmed according to Google Gemini AI. I don't know exactly. I haven't seen this in the news yet, but I was just getting an update that as of February 10th, authorities have detained a person for questioning in the connection with the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, who's the Today Show CBS anchor, and it's been a big case basically across the internet of this woman who was abducted, and the FBI released videos today of the person who tried to basically disable the camera the night she was taken. So this is how it happened. The Pima County Sheriff's deputies detained the individual during a traffic stop, okay, that was south of Tucson, specifically in Rico, Arizona, near the Mexican border. Arizona. The individual is being questioned, but is not yet fully officially charged or identified by name. So as of right now, they have not released the name. They said that they are preparing to search a location associated with this person. The development occurred just hours after the FBI released the surveillance footage showing a masked armed suspect tampering with the camera. The source confirmed, and law enforcement source confirmed, that the person detained is not a member of the Guthrie family. Okay, so they've not been identified by name. This is how they caught the person. The sheriff deputies detained this person during a traffic stop south of Tucson? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Sorry, I'm not from Arizona. But anyways, it's an hour south of Tucson near the border with Mexico. So here's why they were detained. It was based on investigative leads. So it was following a massive multi-agency search. So while details on the specific leads are scant, the detention happened just hours after that FBI released the surveillance footage of that masked armed subject. That's on Kash Patel's Twitter account, or whatever. So the development has been confirmed by the Pima County Sheriff Department, and it's being reported by major outlets including NBC News, CNN, and the New York Times. So they're saying this person is being held for questioning only, not formally charged or declared that the same individual seen the FBI's surveillance videos. So, anyways, that's what the update is on that. I honestly hadn't seen anything as far as news-wise of them being captured. So I would like to know how Google Gemini knows. So that's good, though, that they're working those leads. I hope that they get her back. It says, yes, the sheriff department explicitly confirmed that this individual detained was based on investigative leads. So the sheriff department and the FBI confirmed they detained a subject for questioning based on investigative leads. So the Pima County Sheriff Department said earlier today the Pima County Sheriff's Department detained a subject during a traffic stop south of Tucson. The subject is currently being questioned in connection to the Nancy Guthrie investigation lead up to detention. While the department has not detailed the exact leads that they're talking about, because there's been a lot of stuff on the news about the different places that they were looking at. They were looking at like some drain pipe or whatever. They were looking at, I mean, just a lot of different stuff. The roof, there was like, I think, an opening to a sewer, and there was like different areas that they were checking. A lot of different things. But anyways, they have worked together, and that is specifically what led to this stop. And that was after they released the video. So here's another thing. This is ransom activity. So TMZ, now I don't know how credible they are, but they reported new activity in the specific Bitcoin account that was tied to the ransom notes. Hello, are you Yeti? Yay. And so, like, I think honestly that these people thought that this Bitcoin was not going to be traceable. Maybe a couple years ago they might have got by with that, but here in 2026, trying to use Bitcoin as the way to get ransom money was just dumb. Like, and I think that that's why they didn't like follow up with it. But apparently, somehow or another, I don't know how TMZ got that, but the Bitcoin account was allegedly, okay, keep in mind this TMZ, allegedly tied to the ransom notes. Now, whether that's actually connected to the FBI and the deputies, lead to what led to this arrest, I don't know. I just hope that they get the people, and I hope they get her back, right? It said, but despite the detention of this person, Sheriff Chris Nanios has clarified that the individual is not yet a named suspect and has not been formally charged as of late Tuesday night. So I don't know. Like, if they're keeping him detained, though, they have to have him there for a reason, right? But they just can't keep somebody there. So let me ask, is the suspect released, or how are they keeping? There has to, like, maybe be some kind of charge or warrant. Like, how are you going to keep somebody that's not a suspect if you're not calling them the suspect? How are you going to keep him in custody? You know what I'm saying? I know y'all feel me, right? It says they remain in custody and has not been released. So they have something on them, right? It says they're trying to avoid labeling the person as a suspect, but that's not what I'm hearing. But anyways, here's how they're legally able to hold them. Reasonable suspicion for the stop. So the deputies initially detained the individual during a traffic stop south of Tucson in Arizona. They can briefly detain someone if they have a reasonable suspicion of a crime or traffic violation. So investigative detention, law enforcement can legally hold an individual for questioning without immediate charges. Yeah, but for how long, right? So if they have sufficient evidence to believe the person has information about a crime. So there's a 48-hour rule. Okay, well, see, I didn't know that. Oh, okay, so this is a state law. Under Arizona law, they can hold somebody for up to 48 hours, hold them in custody before they must either file formal charges or they have to release them. So it allows them time to conduct interviews and execute the planned search of a location associated with the individual. So person of interest versus suspect. By using the term person of interest or suspect, police can continue their investigation without triggering certain immediate legal requirements. Okay, that makes sense. That apply once someone is officially named a suspect and formally arrested. So the current status is the investigation is moving rapidly. While the individual is being questioned, FBI's hostage rescue. Now, I did hear about a rescue team coming in. Now, that was on Fox, and I was like, okay, so if they brought in but they was asking the rescue team, like, do you have, like, what, but they're like, no, we can't say anything. We can't put the people, the SWAT team, the rescue team, or them or anybody else in danger. But the fact that they brought in, it wasn't just a hostage team. They called it the elite rescue hostage rescue team. So I thought, so I knew they had something. Like, I felt like they had something for them to bring in that, that particular team or whatever. So that was recently on Fox. And said regional SWAT teams have been activated for missions related to this breakthrough. So there may be like a group of people involved in this kidnapping. The fact that they were wanting a large amount, like 7 million in Bitcoin, it could be even international. I mean, you just never know, right? But anyways, I'm just glad they got somebody. So the leads are leading to something, whether or not they have formal charges or not. They went out and they found them. They tracked this person down and got them. Like, I don't know how they do that. I guess they have like cameras everywhere, basically track people by their tags and stuff like that. I don't know, but they got them. So I think that they think it's a group of people, right? They're only talking about one person, though. But I know that there's more than one suspect, and here's why. Because their neighbors saw 2 men that was around the property, and that was reported early on in this case. It says only one person is currently being detained. Investigators have confirmed they are looking into multiple persons of interest. See, I knew that because the neighbors saw one person reported they saw a white van. Okay, they didn't have like company names on it. And another person said that there were early reports about seeing 2 people like lingering around the property. And then they saw one person that was specifically trespassing in their yard. So there was just different reports. And I was like, I know it wasn't one person that be involved in this, right? But anyways, it says single individual was intercepted during the stop. Multiple persons of interest. Kash Patel states agents are looking at more than one individual. See, I hadn't heard that. I mean, I knew it just because of the reports from the neighbors earlier. And see, people are like, well, why didn't the neighbors like report? It's like, well, you know, they didn't know that these people that are around a property wasn't really supposed to be there. It's not like neighbors don't want to call the law on everybody because there's somebody around a property that they don't know. They just, when they think back, when they after they realize their neighbor was kidnapped, they're like, oh yeah, well I saw these people lingering on the property. You know, maybe, you know what I'm saying? That's how that went down. So anyways, so they're currently undergoing a process to identify and either include or eliminate these individuals based on their proximity to the event or other evidence. So here's about the surveillance footage. And here's another thing that I had gone to earlier about this data that they had on cameras. They had gone around to take this camera down off of their property because even though they had made it known earlier on that they didn't have a subscription, okay, and so they saw a picture of the person who's kind of like outside the porch, not on the porch, without the backpack and without the gun, and so they're like, well, why is this person out there without their gear, and then later they're with their gear? And that's because that person did not know if that camera was active or not. So they tested it by basically waiting a little bit to see if, you know, triggering the camera would cause, you know, lights go on or people respond or cops be called, and waited, I think it was like 20-25 minutes, and then no reaction. So then it was like, okay, that's not really an active camera, right? So even though there wasn't a subscription, they can go, if they can get physical access to that camera, they can. There's like, it's called residual data, and I think it's good for, depending on the company and the model, it's good for 7 to 14 days. So they took immediate possession of that camera, and that's why they were able to get the residual data, not because there was a subscription. And sometimes things will, like I had I can't remember if it was Google Nest or I had Logitech. I had different Wi-Fi cameras, and so basically it will like store, like maybe even in an app, even if you don't, some of them, even if you don't have a subscription, it'll store like, think for like 3 days or something like that. It just depends on the camera. So they're going around door to door to try to collect cameras and to see if people will either give, like if they have a subscription, to get access to their, you know, footage, or if they don't have subscription, to get access to physical cameras so that they can start looking in and they can like create trails that way. And anyway, so they're working on it, right? But I think that I just feel like, because I feel like they was really sloppy. Like they didn't use a Wi-Fi jammer. They didn't use spray paint. Like, if you're cased in the place, you don't know that there's a camera on the front porch. You're not even equipped or prepared to deal with a camera. You picking up flowers out the ground to try to cover up the camera. That's somebody that's not thought this out. Like, they're just like amateurs, or, you know, rookies or whatever they call it. And so I was like, yeah, they're going to get them. They're going to get them, right? So they said everybody is still a suspect in our eyes, including those who had routine contact with Guthrie, such as service workers or drivers, as part of their standard elimination. See, they were on the roof too, and I think that somebody had suggested, I think it was Laura Coates, and she had suggested that roof that they had done aerial footage of looked really pristine. And so they're like, well, you know, let's go up on the roof and see if there's like anything that they can find up there that, like, maybe they had recent work, somebody had basically recently done a coating on the roof or whatever, and maybe do, you know, dust for fingerprints or something like that. Maybe they dropped a cigarette up there. They may smoked a cigarette while they're working. I mean, I don't know, anything they can find. Okay, and then somebody suggested there was some cameras, some kind of footage camera, but I'm not sure. But there's a lot of things let me tell you what, you can't believe all the videos, because there's a lot of AI videos that was put out and so Cassius says the only videos there's no videos of anybody inside the house or anything like that. And I've seen all over Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, all over the internet, people are creating fake videos and they're enhancing videos, and people are even doing comparisons to the enhanced altered AI videos. I mean, it's just off the hook. And you know what else is crazy? And I've done a video about this before, is that YouTube has recently made it so that anybody can share fake news. And like, okay, for example, people are taking logos of news sites and they'll put it in a thumbnail of their like video to make it seem like they're sharing legitimate news, and it's all fake. So I asked Google Gemini about that. I was like, why is this increased fake news all over YouTube? Because it used to be, if a lot of people complained about it, they would take it down, and and then Gemini said that they have relaxed that, and basically, so if it's even if it's 100% fake news, YouTube's not taking it down. And so it makes it worse for us, the viewers, and, people that's like trying to sort from what's real and what's not, when first of all, we have AI to deal with, because a lot of times it's hard to tell what's AI and what's not. And then two, you have people that is just basically they're even taking logos of actual corporate media sites and putting it, just making stuff up, just fake. Clickbait is getting so much worse when it's supposed to be getting better. But anyways, all enough about that. I'm just so glad that they got this guy, they're on it. I mean, it's just kind of scary that they target him. I feel like it's got to be something to do with, this is a media company. Like, this is a family who's media. So this lady has had her mother featured in the media. I mean, because, she's well known, almost to the celebrity status. And so there's a lot of stuff that's covered by NBC and by Today's Show, a lot of stuff. And she's also a conservative, and a Christian. So there's a lot of theory or whatever, but there's a lot of political stuff in there too, to include international. So like literally it could have been anybody, right? There could have been so many different things that they covered. But the ransom notes was very bizarre, because they gave them to the media, not to the family, with no way to pay them. And honestly, I don't know. I'm just going by gut feeling. I just felt like, I think they really thought that they could pull off a Bitcoin ransom, and like that it wouldn't be traceable. And then of course the media is talking about everything, and I think they try to give the impression that it wasn't trackable or whatever. But the FBI is usually, when the FBI is involved, because if you give a ransom note, here's the whole thing. It's so dumb. If you give the ransom note to the media, automatically the FBI is going to be involved. For Bitcoin and for that much money, that's automatically going to be federal jurisdiction. If they'd given it to the family, which there's a lot of people, you see it in the movies, right? These families will go pay money, but a lot of times it is successful, where they will kidnap and take hostage a family, and then they'll get the family members will pay them, and they will not get the law involved, because they feel that it could harm the family. But to me, it just seemed like, is this staged, or are they just dumb? Because you've gone to the media, you're making it national that you want a ransom. It just, to me, it didn't make any sense at all. It's like it just wasn't even well thought out. And then you think you're going to get Bitcoin, which is now traceable. It's like it's like an off-ramp. Once they, you have to transfer Bitcoin to something. And so anyways, it was just, and then you show up the night you're going to do the abduction, and you don't even have a means or know-how to deal with the camera. It's like, here's the thing, a Wi-Fi jammer, or even a flashlight. Like, yeah, he kind of sort of flashed the light at it, but I've seen like people in videos, like, wasn't it what's his name? Whistling Diesel or whatever his name was, YouTube channel, that some guy ended up being one of his neighbors, gone up to one of his cameras and spray painted it. Like, that's the common thing that prowlers do, is they spray paint stuff. You know, Wi-Fi jammers would have totally disabled that camera. It wouldn't have been able to record if it's operating off a Wi-Fi signal. That's why I use CCTV cameras. The only time I use a Wi-Fi camera is just to, like, look at my dogs when I'm not home. You know what I'm saying? Just check in on them. And so anyways, but then this person shows up and they have no way, like, they didn't even know the camera was there. And here's what didn't make sense, because first they show up, they know the camera's there. They do know the camera's there, but there's like, uh-oh. So then they're just standing there and they don't have their gear on them. So they do a test of the camera first, right? So there's a picture of this person standing outside. We'll see where that arch is, and I'll show you in this picture right here where this arch is. Where's this picture? Oh, you wouldn't. This picture. So there's the picture as of standing out here, and they're not even on the porch yet, and they're just kind of like standing there looking at. So what they're doing is they're testing the camera. Okay, so they're testing the camera. And they wait, like, I think it was 20 or 25 minutes, and nothing happened. No lights came on. Nobody said anything through the camera. No police was called. Nobody came outside. They're like, oh, okay, so this is a non-responsive camera. I'm coming on in. And then when the next time they show up, they've got this. Okay? They've got, this backpack and, of course, the weapon. But then still didn't even have a way to deal with the camera. So then walks back over here and reaches down and picks up some flowers and then covers up the camera with some flowers. I mean, that's just like, just not somebody that, like, has a clue what they're doing. But anyways, I just wanted to share that was going on. And they got somebody in custody, so yay. But that's it for now, guys. Yeah, I'm so glad that I just hope they get her back. So everybody that's praying, y'all keep praying. And that's it for now. And I hope y'all have a blessed day. Okay, bye. How do I turn this off?